I've finished cleaning up the edges of my pearl selection. I'm still in the select and mask mode. And before I show you how to put these pearls into the next layer, I wanted to point out a couple of things I did in this process to make the selection cleaner. I pretty much went around the entire edge of all the pearls with my refine edge tool. There's a spot that I missed right here, so I'm going to clean it up right now. And what this did is it created a kind of a feathered edge, which for my selection, which is pretty much what I need, because some of these pearls aren't in super sharp focus, and so their edges actually are really soft. Here's another little area that I kind of missed, and I'm just going to go along the edge of it. It's very subtle, but you can see it kind of cleaned up that edge right there. And I pretty much went around the entirety of the string of pearls. I see I missed a spot here too, so I'm going to clean it up. Let me get my, oops. Okay, using the paintbrush tool to kind of, mask or unmask an area, then coming over that with the refine edge tool to get that soft edge. And I want to show you what those edges look like in the black and white setting, just so that you can see what I'm talking about when I say that the edges are feathered. Okay, so here we can't see the photograph at all, but we can very clearly see what areas are masked and what areas are not masked. And while it doesn't look perfect, it's going to look okay once I get it in my composition. But as you can see, most of the edges along the pearls, they're just a little bit feathered. They're a little bit soft and blurry. They don't have that hard pixeled edge look that they had originally when I used the select and mask tool, or when I used the paintbrush tool to paint back in some of that background. So it's not perfect, but it's close enough that it's going to look good, but because you can clearly see the edge of each pearl now. You can clearly see that the blue jean background is going to be blocked out, and this is going to be good enough for my picture. So I'm just going to go back into overlay one more time. Now what I need to do is, if you look in the properties palette, before you click OK, make sure you know how you're going to output your selection. Since I just have this photograph not on a layer with any other layers, it's just one layer, and I want to take these pearls and put them in another file altogether, I want to output to selection, which is what's already selected here. But you do have other options. You can output to a layer mask or a new layer, or you can even output to a new document. I'm just going to go ahead and output to selection, and that's going to take me right back to my marching ants that I had when I first started making the selection with my quick select tool. But you can see that my selection is much better now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit, copy, and that's saving the pearls to my clipboard. And I'm going to open up my composition, and I'm going to go edit, paste, and there are my pearls. Now, right now they're just kind of floating around on the top layer, and I actually want these to look like they're kind of transparent, kind of blended in under some of the other things. So I'm going to drag this layer in between the fabric and the swan. Okay, and I'm also going to, it just so happened that these came out almost exactly the perfect width. That never happens. But I want some of these pearls in the foreground, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer by dragging the layer down to this little icon here. Now I've got 2 layers with pearls on it. Whoops. Sometimes it's hard to, I don't know why it jumps like that. There we go. I'm using my my arrow tool to nudge these pearls up. Okay, so I've got another layer now with pearls. I've got 2 layers that have pearls on it. To make this second layer look a little different, here's a little trick that I'm going to do. I'm going to go Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, and it's going to turn those pearls going a different direction. Okay, so now it has a little bit more of a random appearance to it. And I'm just going to bring these up a little bit higher on the page. Hold my, something like that ought to work. Okay, so now what I need to do is, I like what my pearls are doing in the area where the fabric is showing right here, but of course they're blocking out my swan, and I don't want that. So again, I'm going to create another layer mask, and again, that's this little icon right here. I'm just going to click that, and just like we did before, I'm going to use my paintbrush. Make sure that the paint color is black, and make sure that you see the little white box around the layer mask. And then I'm going to start painting over the pearls where the swan is. My brush right now is set with an opacity of about 64%. Let me take that down to 60. I can go back over this as many times as I need to. I really want the swan's face to stand out, but I wouldn't mind if a little bit of the pearls showed through. And I'm only kind of doing the pearls, the top layer of pearls right now. And I'm just going to paint along the swan's back. That looks pretty good. I maybe go over it one more time. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with the other string of pearls. I'm going to create a layer mask, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to brush these pearls out anywhere that they're overlapping the swan. And I don't have to be super precise with this. A little bit of variation and transparency is a nice thing. And there. I'm pretty much satisfied with that. Okay. So that's how I got the pearls in there. And now I'm going to save my work. File, save.